All right, this is Jerry Davis.
Hey, this is Joe Shelton here.
And we are the band Bruhz. Joe, what's going on today, man?
Hey, man, good, man. Just trying to get adjusted to this Nashville weather, man. Hot one minute, cold the next.
I know. You got to bring shorts and thermals with you every day. You never know what the temperature's going to be.
Flip-flops in the evening, Ugg boots in the morning.
Right. Hey, let everybody know how they can get in touch with us.
Hey, y'all can reach us on all the social media outlets, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Band Bruhz, BandBruhz, on all of those, and of course right here on Facebook. So search Band Bruhz and share, like, and please let all your friends know to check us out.
Kind of jump right in on some important topics that's going on in Nashville, Joe. As you see, and both of us have been here pretty much forever, from birth. It doesn't take a rocket scientist if you just drive and walk around and kind of see what's going on with the city. It is booming.
Yep.
Buildings are coming up. You see cranes everywhere, houses being built, houses being torn down. And as a native Nashvilleian, I welcome the change and I welcome the growth. But at what expense?
Yeah, what expense?
What's happening? We see the good stuff, but what's happening behind the scenes? Who's getting put out? Who's losing grandma's house and granddaddy's house and things like that for a couple dollars? So, I definitely want you all to chime in as you listen to this segment and leave your comments. Make sure that you're liking our page. Make sure you're leaving comments on YouTube and things like that. But we really want you to dive in on this one because from surface, it looks good, but where are these people going?
Yep.
What is going on? This is the stuff that doesn't get talked about or you get to see on the news. But if there was a house there 2 years ago, somebody was probably living in it. Where are they now? So please chime in and leave comments about that. And if we need to, we'll talk about this discussion again. So, Joe,
man,
what you got?
Hey, man, we just want everybody to just sort of research. If you drive anywhere in North Nashville, you can look there. I picked my son up from school, and they just finished doing this remodeling, and there's a $1 million house sitting right there, right off of Rosa Parks.
Wow.
And right next to it is a $40,000 house. And so they're slowly buying up all these small properties, these small houses, renovating them, and literally charging 1,000% over of what the value of what they bought it for. They're literally making, you're going from a $40,000 investment, and by the time you renovate it, and the house may be worth, let's just say $100,000 after renovated, but they're charging $300,000 and $400,000 for those same houses just because it's close to downtown and it's in the area, it's close to the Gulch, it's close to the Jefferson Street, and we need to be aware of that. We don't need to be a blind, just look at it and keep driving on. We really need to pay attention to what's going on.
Yeah, and to add to that, Joe, you're talking about that $40,000 house that gets bought. They knock it down because they really just want the property.
Yeah, they just want the property.
You're talking about $1 million house or $800,000 house. They call them the tall and skinnies, where they just go straight up.
Yep.
Not only are they putting one on there, they're squeezing at least two houses on there. So imagine you buy a house, demolish it for $40,000, and then you put two $800,000 homes going straight up.
Yep.
I mean, it's the best business move ever, but who's losing? Somebody's losing. And, in church last Sunday, Pastor was talking about people recognizing and talking about the things that's going on in the city. Yep. But what are you going to do about it? You know what I mean?
We got to recognize that stuff, man.
Yeah.
And we got to pay attention to what's going on. And it's crazy, and they're pushing people out. And and if you lived in North Nashville all your life, your family, parents, and lived in there, and now you've got your house, and then there you have a $500,000 house sitting next to you. Your property value and tax is going to go up, and they end up almost pushing you out because you can't afford to pay the property taxes anymore.
Right. And for me, it's always been just being in the fitness business or being in events and things like that over the years. people will tell you, I've always wanted to partner with anyone that wanted to do something that was positive, to create some income and to help folks out. But 2019, we still have this, this crab in the barrel mentality where if you say, hey, they're doing this and they're doing that and they're building these homes, but you don't have a plan behind it, then we're just talking about it. You know what I mean? What are you going to do about it? And the people in Nashville, and I can't say this for everyone, but the majority of the people, it's kind of like, let me get mine, you get yours. But if they come in or anyone comes in and wipes out these neighborhoods, there's nobody to blame but us.
Yep.
Because we could have did the exact same thing.
Do the same thing.
God forbid someone make a little bit of money over here or spend a little bit more, then and you didn't have anything to do with it.
Right.
But we're the only culture that would do that. And at some point we've got to stop. We got to buy some property ourselves. We got to be able to work together. We got to be able to make money together. We got to be able to have some smart business practices together. But until then, we're going to continue to get inched out.
Yep.
Everywhere.
Just think about it, man. This tax season, just think if 10 of your friends, your closest friends, I don't know what people get back on tax. Just think if 10 of your friends decide, okay, I'm going to take 10% of my tax return. We're going to go together with 10 of my buddies. We're going to put that money together. We're going to buy a piece of property, and we're going to invest into it. We're going to remodel. We're going to do that. My problem with the gentrification is, it's people from New York buying this property. Mm-hmm. It's people who never even stepped foot on Jefferson Street or any place that they just got the real estate map and they're buying it.
Yep.
And they're sending companies come in to build them up and they never been. What if 10 of your friends took 10% of your tax return and said, hey, we're going to make this investment, and we buy it for $40,000 and we put in another $50,000-$60,000 to renovate or do whatever, and then we sell it for $300,000. And look how much money we've invested. Not only are we doing something in our community, but we're helping to put back in, and we can come around and turn around and do that same thing over and over again. But like you said, Jerry, crab in the bucket. We don't want to see the next person thrive.
Yep.
We want to sort of all, we want to hold each other back to some certain extent.
Yeah, I think for me, and again, these are just personal opinions for me, and I don't speak for anybody but me, because I know me, because it's actually me. So
you're you.
Yeah, I am me. Just growing up and visiting cities like Detroit, visiting cities like Memphis, Atlanta, I just see more of, kind of that Black or African American leadership being more present in those cities than here. And it's not to say that it's not here, but at the same time, it's not here. You know what I mean? I've always labeled Nashville as the white Atlanta.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, if you can have a great time here, like I've gone out to some place like, man, I didn't even know this existed, and I've been here my whole life. You know, where did this come from? When did this little bar, or like they're setting up Nashville in little boroughs?
Yeah, it is. That's all
eat,
it is.
Sleep, shop here. You don't have to go around. So I'm enjoying seeing all the new stuff that's going on, and my kids will be able to enjoy it. But again, somebody's getting driven out, somebody's getting pushed out, and like I said last week in church, we can talk about it, and we shall overcome, and hold your fist up and picket and all that, but you don't have a plan. Once you finish picketing, then all we did was just make noise, and we get to the point where everybody just making noise. So if you don't have a real plan to follow up behind your argument, then it's just noise.
Yeah, that's all it is, man. So look, the purpose of this, man, hey, we need you all to start paying attention. Go get that Zillow app. Start looking and see what the properties, the houses around where you live. Look at some of these crazy prices that they're selling some of this property for. And just start inquiring. Yeah. Start inquiring about it. Get with some friends. If you can't afford to do it, just make plans to do it. That's a goal of mine in the next 5 years, to start buying some real estate property.
I'm looking at homes for 1,500 square feet, 1,700 square feet, 420,000. I'm like, y'all really put that number on there? And nobody said this is probably a little too high, and they're getting it. Yeah, that's the crazy part about it, and especially if you're from up north, the East Coast, and you've been living in a 400 square foot apartment that was $200,000, and you come down here and you can get almost $2,000 for 400. Yeah. they think that's a great deal for
Yeah,
them. But
that's
for us, we're used to having grass and yards and things
Oh,
like
no.
that. We're not gonna pay. That's what's happening. If you're from Nashville and you buying anything over $500,000 and you're in there for 1,800 square feet, man, jump off a small bridge.
Man.
Ain't no way I'm getting ready to do that.
If I'm
it's
paying
crazy.
$500,000, I want J.R. Ewing. I want the Ewing
Right.
Ranch.
I want cattle as I pull in. You know what I mean? When I pull my car in, hey Susie, you know, I'm
I want
feeding
to
my
drive.
cows.
Oh, I want the drawbridge to lay down and drive over a moat
Yes.
to my house. If I'm paying,
Snapping alligators for that much money. There's no way.
No way.
Yeah, but you know, the folks that's moving in from LA, these are great deals. You know what I mean? For me, I'm sorry. I know what was there 2
Yep.
years ago, and I'm
was-
not doing it.
It was Top Dog 10 years ago.
Right.
If y'all don't know what Top Dog is, don't. Just
I don't even think you can Google it. Just ask somebody from Nashville.
ask somebody from Nashville,
Yeah.
man. So,
But
but no, man, inquire and start paying attention to what's going on, man, and let's get together and let's make a plan.
Man, he's a legend, the greatest of all time. Nashville legend. Band Bruhz presents the Legend Series.
So let our fans know what we got going on today. We are continuing our Legend series.
Yes, sir. Legend
And,
series.
Man, I don't even know if I could even be in the same room
I know,
with
man.
this legend that we have here today. It's not enough space in the room.
We might have to move over to Hell Stadium, man.
Right.
You know, just
Yeah, but I tell you what, I'm excited personally because this is the gentleman that gave me my chance because band was the furthest thing in my mind growing up, and it really centered and gave me some structure. So he doesn't even know that he saved my life.
Oh yeah,
by me
yeah,
joining
man.
the band. But let me go ahead and introduce the legend. What else can I say? The king of kings,
The Grand Poobah.
the Grand Poobah, Mr. Robert Churchwell.
What's going on, Mr. Churchwell?
You all are very kind, very kind. I appreciate that, Dr. Davis, and you too, Professor Shelton. It's just quite an honor to be on you all's show.
All right,
Appreciate it.
let's kick it off, man. Just tell us, man. For those who don't know, tell us where you're from, where you grew up.
Nashville, Tennessee. Born and raised here in Nashville. Was raised in East Nashville, and that's my mom still living in the house that we were raised in on North 9th Street.
Okay.
On East Side. Okay.
And okay, so East Side, and now how did where did you first get a taste of music, and where did that first spark start from growing up on the east side of Nashville about music and band? Where did you first get introduced to that?
Well, I was blessed to be at Meigs Elementary School at the time. Meigs at one point was elementary school and high school, grades 1 through 12. And Mr. Bob Holmes, Robert Holmes, who was the string teacher at Meigs, recruited some first grade students to play violin. And I was one of the students who went down to his classroom, and I started playing violin.
Okay.
Told my mom and dad I want to play violin. One of my buddies, my best buddies, Harold Woods, was in the class too, and a few other folks I knew. But I started playing the violin in the first grade.
Okay. And then from there, did you continue to play the violin through elementary school up into middle school? or-
I played violin through elementary school, middle school, high school. Even played it again when I got to college.
Okay.
Here at Tennessee State. Played in the TSU orchestra.
So you played two instruments.
Well, what happened, Jerry, when I was 10 years old, and I'm probably going to jump over another question. When I was 10 years old, my mom asked me what I wanted to be.
Okay.
And I've always loved bands. I always loved bands as a kid. My dad used to take us to all the parades,
Okay.
Christmas parade, Fire Prevention parade, etc. And I used to watch the great bands at that time. Cameron, Pearl High School,
Okay.
and Washington had a marching band during that time. And Wharton did too. They had that's when they had junior high marching
Okay.
bands.
I
back
never
during
knew that.
day. But I loved to watch those bands coming down the street, and high stepping, playing, everybody playing,
Yeah.
looking good.
Yeah.
So at 10 years old, my mom asked me what I wanted to be, and I told her I wanted to be a band director. And I
At
I wanted to
10, you knew that.
Oh yeah, I told him to be a
Wow.
band director. I want to be a principal, and I want to be president of a university.
Okay.
So God blessed me the 2 out of the 3.
Okay.
But I realized when I got into, I guess you might say the 9th grade,
Okay.
that being a band director, I need to have some knowledge of being in a marching band. I need to play in the marching band.
Right.
And I realized you couldn't march down the street with a violin. That wasn't gonna work. You know, you
That's
can't
not a
do
good
kick
look,
down, drop
yeah.
freeze with a violin. You know,
No kick
Can't do
down,
the
drop
rip.
freeze with the
couldn't
strings.
do the rip. Couldn't do the rip. But no, you did none of that. Couldn't do the 8 to 5 with no violin.
Right.
So I decided. I went to my band director, Mr. Ed Howe.
Okay.
Outstanding gentleman, and asked Mr. Howe, what instrument should I play? My brother played trumpet. My brother Andre was a trumpet player. He was already in the band.
Okay.
He said, why don't you play trombone? Not knowing at the time that there was correlation between the violin and trombone.
Okay.
Violin has no frets like a guitar.
Okay.
And you have to use your ear. So on the violin, you have G, D, A, E. Those are your strings. And you got to know what notes to play on what strings. Okay. With the trombone, you got to use your ear too, but you got to know what positions to play the notes notes in. And you have to use your ear to make sure you're playing the proper notes. So there was a great correlation there. So I started playing the trombone. Now, the big thing was the Christmas parade was coming up,
Okay.
and I got so fired up, I learned to play the trombone in 2 weeks.
Wow.
I mean, I was taking the thing home. I was buzzing and blowing, and my mom and dad went out and bought me a trombone,
Wow.
and I learned to play. I wanted it that bad, and I marched in the Christmas parade. I learned how to play the Christmas parade march, and that was a hard march back in the
Wow.
day. So yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this. I bet a lot of your old Cobras did not know that you were able to learn how to play trombone in 2 weeks.
I don't think I would share that with them.
Yeah. But they know now, because that is a feat.
I tell you what, they'd better get on that dadgum confounded horn, but that blasted about
Kick down, drop freeze.
Yes, sir.
baby.
Yes,
That's
sir.
it. So let me ask you this. How important was it for you to have that strong influence from your band directors? How did they shape you in elementary?
That's an excellent question. Mr. Howe, of course, was an outstanding musician.
Okay.
And he came behind J.D. Chavis. Chick Chavis, we call him. Mr. Chavis was the band director at Tennessee State.
Yeah.
He left there and went to Meg's.
Never
And he
knew
started a band program at Meg's and have a strong music program. Then he left Meg's and went into school administration. Well, behind him was Mr. Howe. Mr. Howe was a longtime band director at Wharton.
Okay.
Junior high school. Had a great band at Wharton. Great musician. So he was a great influence on me. All my sayings, dadgummit, confounded, dad blasted, came from him.
Okay. Okay.
He started that.
Okay.
So I thought I'd hold on to those things.
Absolutely.
And so in high school, then when Meg's closed as a high school, I had to go to East High School for 1 year. So I went over there, and I made a point to introduce myself to the new band director, there. I left my mom's house, my mom and dad's house, walked from where we lived to East High School, walked in there with a shirt and tie on. I put a shirt and tie on. They thought, my mom and dad said, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to East High School and introduce myself to the band director there. So I walked in the guy's office. He's sitting there looking like, this Caucasian guy. He said, well, can I help you? I said, yeah. I said, I'm Robert Churchwell Jr. I'm going to be in your band next year. I want to come and introduce myself, and I want to be a band director. He said, wow. So we sat there and talked for a few minutes, told him I was in the Meg's band, told him about playing the violin, etc. And his name was Glenn Moore.
Okay.
But he was leaving as the band director.
Okay.
He's going to Metro schools to work in the vocation department.
Okay.
And the new band director, was Jay Dawson, outstanding musician. Jay Dawson played the Nashville Symphony. He was a French horn player, and eventually became the assistant conductor for the Nashville Symphony. And so he really helped push me as a trombone player. We played a lot of different music.
Okay.
Grade 5, grade 6, and Prof. Shelton knows about that. You do too. Music, which really tests your musicianship,
Okay.
And he also provided me opportunity where I played in a brass ensemble. Excuse me, a brass ensemble that he had at his church.
Okay.
So that was another foundation piece, to get ready for the next level.
Yeah.
So I played in the concert band, the marching band. He even allowed me to conduct the high school band when I was at East.
Okay.
And so he was another great influence too, Jay Dawson. And then is there another question behind this one, Jerry?
No.
Okay.
No.
So after that, I saw this band marching at the Cincinnati Bengals halftime show. It was a Sunday. Well, they used to show college bands on the halftime show.
Mm-hmm. Would they show the whole halftime?
Yeah, sure, the whole halftime.
Wow.
And
Okay.
TSU, the aristocratic bands were on there. And they were doing it. I mean, you know, they did a circle drill. It was bad. The drum majors at the time was Stanley Stewart, Brother Fentress, and Price. I forget, they had 3 drum majors. And so I made my mind up then. I said, I'm gonna be in TSU band. That's the band I'm gonna join. So when the summertime came, I got on a bus. Never rode a bus before in my life. Mm-hmm. And I went to rode to Tennessee State. Put that shirt and tie on again now. Okay. Walked up there where the band room is now. Mr. Greer, who was band director then. That's a greater influence on my life. Prophet Greer. I went in. He was in his office, sitting by his desk. And of course, he looked at me and said, "Can I help you? Man, where are you? Where are you coming from?" I said, "Well," I told my name. He said, "Oh, Churchwell." I said, "Yeah." I said, "I want to be a band director, and I'm here to fill out whatever papers I need, or let you know my interest in being part of the aristocratic bands." Then he went on and tell me about the band going to Los Angeles, playing at the same arena that the Olympics was in. Played Alcorn A&M. Okay. And at that time, the band was all guys. Okay. And he said, "Well, he said, give me your information. So I'll look into you, check you out, and then if I think you can make it, I'll send you a letter." So
what grade were you in then?
I was finishing. I was 12th grade. Okay. I was a senior in high school. Okay. Graduated. So sometime later on that summer, I got a letter from Prof, explaining that they want to be a part of the aristocratic bands. Got a band scholarship. Okay. To march in the band, and so went out there, and the rest is history. Got out there on the patch. Yeah. And put that sack on my head, because right then freshmen had to wear sacks. They call them crabs.
That's what we heard.
The crabs. You heard about sack, Doc. And you wore that sack up to FAMU. FAMU was your graduation after we did FAMU. So I went out there, and never been out in 100-degree heat before in my life. I mean, I run around in East Nashville, 100-degree heat.
You mean in Florida?
No, I'm talking about here.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Where the music building is now. Where it was Watson 3. He has another name for it now. That parking lot there was the old band practice field. Okay. And we had that whole field with lights and all that. So skinny guy from East Nashville, trombone player, got in there with Leonard Morton. Yeah. Junior was sitting next to me with some other cats, and we fight to make it to L.A. Yeah. So I never worked so hard in my life. Prophet Greer was a great motivator. He was a psychiatrist, psychologist. Yeah. They talked about Big John's speeches where guys want to hit lockers, crash, run into each other and stuff. When Prophet Greer got through with you, marched through a brick wall. Yeah. If it was glass, you wouldn't even know it was glass when you hit it. And we march out in the rain. Yeah. And you learn the fundamentals. Yeah. Because East High was a core band. Meg's was a high stepping band. Okay. So, but I had to learn the TSU style, So I used to go in the dorm. Buddy of mine, call him Satch. He was a sousaphone player he was my roommate from Memphis, Tennessee, and he was a heck of one. He was a music major too. I was a music major. He was a music major. And so anyway, I used to practice marching after doing all that. Out there on the 8 to 5 on the field, I'd go in the dorm. We practice marching together, to perfect that knee lift, that pop. I did that. I had to learn Bach-Toccata and Fugue, all the songs. Danny Owens, California Dreamin'. Okay. Prof Morton's. He did a check this out. We did a dance routine to Ball of Confusion. Wow. That Prof Morton wrote. Wow. And it was the most intricate. Stanley Stewart, I think you all interviewed. Stanley was the head drum major at the time. Okay. He came up with the dance routine for that. Okay. You had to be in excellent shape to do it. So we did that. and went and killed Alcorn. As Prophet would say, the roar of the crowd. But one thing that really caught me when I got my uniform, I had to go home. I went home and I put that bad boy on. And I think I stood in the mirror for an hour.
I think we all did that. Yeah.
Just lifting. I was
we all
lifted.
did that.
I lifted in front of that mirror for an hour.
Yeah.
Popping 90s, and I said, man, oh man, wow. Because I mean, you see it on television now. You're a part of it now. And it was a dream come true.
Yeah, it's surreal.
Yeah.
I want to ask you. I want to go back a little bit, and Joe, you can chime in as well. But did we ever have? And I know you just mentioned about some strong marching middle school bands here in Nashville, and it's kind of a two-part question for both of you all. Did we have it, and if we had it now, would that be a better influence with those kids moving from middle school into high school marching band, as opposed to just kids starting marching in high school? So,
yeah, it would be a great segue. The thing about it is, you'd have to have someone who understood that concept. Someone who marched in a marching band that did do 8 to 5, or we call the Big Ten marching. Mm-hmm. That would be the difference.
Yeah.
See, back then, you had guys who were TSU grads who marched in aristocratic bands, and they understood that, okay? Mm-hmm. With the exception of Professor Gunner, he wasn't a Tennessee State guy. He came from a northern band, but he was a Nashvilleian, and he had military background. But he understood the concept of lift. And also Don Q. Pullen, who was the band director of Washington, I think Don Q. marched in the TSU band too. So it's a difference when you have guys like that. Right?
Yeah. I think, oh man, that would be a great thing. I think that's what's, for today's kids. I think that middle school march band. If you look down in New Orleans, as I think it was a middle school band like Alice Hart, man. I think they're like 200 members strong, and they sound like a high school, And so it's easy for them to segue right into high school. There's no selling, because they get it at a young age, and I think that's really missing here in Nashville. That could really help the high school program.
So it's been somewhat kind of, when people change, it's great that they have that kind of program in New Orleans. And we have seen in the TSU parade some middle school bands, right, that came from other parts of Tennessee that, marched Big Ten style. So,
was it cool to be in the band in middle school and high school? Because I know we've had these conversations and talk about 70 kids walking around high school that have some experience on an instrument, but that everybody wants to play football, basketball, or they're just too cool. Was it a different mindset then?
Well, jocks were jocks.
Yeah.
Band cats were band cats.
Yeah.
I thought I was cool, regardless. I mean, I played basketball in high school, but my main idea was band. Okay. Band people weren't. I guess you had to make your own way.
Okay.
I like I used to tell you all that your stamp is what you do. Mm-hmm. You establish yourself. You believe in yourself. You know that you can do anything and everything with God's help. Mm-hmm. So, it wasn't as the spotlight wasn't as much as it is now. Mm-hmm. And I really didn't give any thought to that, But when I got to TSU, though, it was cool to be in the band Tennessee State.
Absolutely.
Yeah, to be an aristocrat. That was looked upon with great respect.
Yeah. So post TSU, drum major, graduating, when did it hit you say, hey, okay, I know I want to be a band director? What was your first job? What did you do as far as teaching once you left TSU?
Well, when I graduated from TSU, I didn't go originally right into teaching.
Okay.
I wanted to learn the business world first.
Okay.
And it's amazing how God allowed me to do that, park it. Because most guys, when they finish college, went right into the band director piece. You know? But I wanted to learn the business world first.
Okay.
So I worked at Commerce Union Bank, which is now Nations Bank. I was over there archives or records department.
Okay.
We were on Main Street,
Okay.
which now is a storage place now.
Yeah.
But anyway, and I did that for a year and a half, and then I found out that Kroger, the Kroger company, had a management training program.
Okay.
So I interviewed for that and got into that.
Okay.
So I was going through my rotation as a Kroger manager. I learned the importance of productivity. I learned the importance of using your time wisely, getting the most out of your time, motivating people. It was kind of another. God was preparing another stage for me
Absolutely.
to become the band director,
Yeah.
etc. So, but I got a fateful call one day from Mr. John Ed Garrett, who was over Metro Schools high school personnel, and he told me there was a band director job at North High School.
Okay.
And I told him, I said, well, I'm in my last rotation at Kroger. I was going to become a manager. He said, well, why don't you, just go over there and talk to Dr. Elliott, and see what he said. You won't lose anything. If you decide that you don't want it, you can go back to Kroger. I said, so anyway, the rest is history. I went over there and interviewed with Dr. Elliott and got hired right on the spot.
Wow.
Now, I'm 21 years old. My students are 18, some 19, 17, okay? Yeah. And so my dad said, now that's a challenge, man. I said, what are you going to do? I said, well, you got to carry yourself in a way that, because I was married at the time too, my first wife, and really that didn't make any difference, but I knew I had to carry myself very professionally.
Yeah.
I had to look professional.
Yeah.
So I wore suits all the time, and I didn't take any mess. I used what training I had as a drum major, a head drum major at TSU, to mold and shape my young people at North High School.
That's
and
awesome.
So we had about 80 people in North High Band my first year there. We won awards.
Okay.
North High got a lot of recognition. I was there for 2 years, and we won parades, and we won the first Easter parade, the first and last, Joe, Easter parade in Nashville had. The mayor at the time was Richard Fulton.
Okay.
And so Donnell Akins, who was my drum major at the time, I took him with me. We went over to the mayor's office at the courthouse, and Mr. Fulton awarded us the certificate. They gave you a certificate for the band that won the Easter parade.
Wow.
And I taught Donnell how to look people in the eye, and I got a picture in my den, him bearing down on Fulton in the eye, looking him in the eye. Everybody's serious. Everybody's serious, business. So, but to answer your question, North High was my first my first opportunity as a band director.
Okay.
And then, of course, they opened the job for the greatest high school in America, Whites Creek, came available, and I interviewed for that.
Okay.
And God blessed me to become the first band director at Whites Creek.
Now, Joe, I know this is not on the script, but I got to ask, as we're in the room with greatness, and this is my band director, but we had some serious, and we talked to Mr. Severe about this, those battles between Maplewood and Whites Creek, and kids just getting excited for those games. Talk a little bit about how you used to prepare us for those games. I mean, you literally would think these were college games that were getting ready to happen. Just exciting. I mean, I can't even put it into words because I didn't think anything else existed but Whites Creek and a Maplewood game.
Well, nothing else did exist but Whites Creek. That's right. Well, you mentioned John Severe. John Severe was my student teacher.
Okay.
I don't know if he told you all that. I'll give you that background. He was my student teacher.
Okay.
And also he wrote my shows, and he was my main arranger.
Okay.
He was one of my assistants at Whites Creek. I worked with John very closely, and he when I heard that we had a job at Pearl Cohn, I called him. He was in Ohio, and he came back here, and of course the rest is history. We became band director at Pearl Cohn and did a great job.
Absolutely.
I used a lot of, to answer your question, Jerry, because of that rival. We had Thursday night rehearsals in the dark. Yeah. Okay. And people used to park their cars on the hill up there. And I used to tell you all, I said, it's Maplewood up there scouting. Yeah. Okay. It's Maplewood up there scouting. Yeah. So we're gonna give them a little taste of what they're gonna get Friday tomorrow night. Yeah. Okay. So everybody was and I use again the roar of the crowd. Yeah. The importance of putting up and putting out. Yeah. giving that you're 100%.
That's
and
it.
that's what we did. We put it out there for them. Now, we didn't play the whole show.
Yeah.
We didn't remember. I would stop you.
Yeah.
We went to the dance routine, and because, there's no way that they're going to change the show anyway.
Yeah, that quick.
That quick.
Yeah.
But we gave them a little bit what they're going to get.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not knowing it was Maplewood or not, but I use it as a psychological advantage.
Jedi mind trick.
Right, yeah. Get your mind ready to get fired. Like, that same idea about running into a locker and running over folks.
Yeah.
Y'all would march through Maplewood High School and tear it up.
That's right. That's right.
So about that time, we had 130 people in the marching band. That was instruments, not majorettes. I never counted them anyway.
Yeah.
But that was instruments.
That's a considerable size for high school. I
It was
mean,
a big
we
band.
were.
We were the second largest band, third largest band in the city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were named officially and unofficially Baby TSU.
That's right.
Back in the
right.
day.
That's right.
I don't want to give away too many secrets, but can you talk a little bit about your concept of shaking of the tree?
Well, the shaking of the tree, I tell you, come on, Jerry, that's great. Well, I work in a business where you can steal stuff from folks and not go to jail, okay? Ideas, all right?
Okay.
3 of my guys went to FAMU. Joe, and so FAMU, Dr. Foster and Dr. White, to make the FAMU band, they had what they call the shaking of the tree. Okay. Where you have to march, do the show, do the fundamentals, play your music, shaking of the tree. And remember, y'all had white T-shirts on, blue shorts.
Yep.
That's when I started that. They're all freshmen.
Yeah.
And that is to prepare you for a competition. That's prepare you your mind to be the best that you can be, okay? And to show that you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Now, some people, they became alternates, okay? You made it, okay? But some people in your section didn't make shaking of the tree.
Yeah.
So that's where that concept of shaking of the tree came from Florida A&M.
Yeah.
Adrian Lee, who marched in FAMU's band, the trumpet player, he and Adrian Pugh, I think they were the first 2 to go. Adrian was first. And he came back and explained to me the shaking of the tree. He had the experience shaking of the tree. Of course, he made the 100.
Yeah.
And then I got to see it on the video. They did a documentary on the 100, remember that? And they showed the shaking of the tree, how they did it, okay? Wow. And so that's where that came from.
Okay, that's awesome. We talked a little bit about this with, I don't know if this is with Mr. Stewart or Mr. Severe, about looking at bands, high school, college, and looking at the way they stand can give you kind of a look on, is this band disciplined or not? Getting off the bus, what are they doing at the hotels? Practice, what are they doing in the stands when they're not playing? And I just remember that being a key factor with you and some things that I still do even today. So I just wanted to tell you I appreciate you, and then just to instill that discipline during a time when we're so influential and impressionable. I always say that 7th grade, 8th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade. So I just wanted to tell you thank you for that.
Thank you, sir.
I know a lot of people that may listen to this podcast would say the same thing. If you heard Mr. Churchwell's name right after, you don't play. You know what I mean? And people talk about you now. You probably need thousands of students that have come through great things just about what they're even doing as grown men now with their children that they've learned from you. So I want to tell you that
you
are
one of the
well
great ones.
appreciated.
You one of the great ones.
No, I'm just...
I mean that seriously. You one of the great ones. I knew that you had great promise. I knew that you were going to do great things. There were some people who I watched and saw that their potential, and that's why I pushed you. I pushed the rest of it, but I pushed you too.
Yeah.
And of course, you went on and exceeded. Well, not what I thought, of course, but I knew you were going to do that, and what you're capable of now, and you're still doing it.
Yeah.
And
it was so funny, and I'm just sharing this, Joe, real quick. I look at guys like good friends like my William Brown and Tevin Daly and Chris Bonds, and I can go on John Michael Robertson. Just Reggie Green, who actually brought me in the band. And then I said, well, I'm at TSU, and now I'm by myself. Well, Chris Bond ended up marching, but it was funny. I don't know. I don't know, because I got in the band late and it just hit me, but I was ready to roll. I said, I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to learn, and I want to keep going on. So it was just, that was an interesting concept for it to flip, for me to be in the band late, because those guys are in the band 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade. But But I just want to tell you thank you for that.
Well,
as
again,
well.
that shows that drive. That shows
Yeah.
that what I saw, that
Yeah.
engine.
Yeah.
You know, a young man who yet came in the band. What, your 10th grade year was it?
Yeah.
But took off. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, and then when you came out here, you know, the same thing.
Yeah. Joe, you got anything for the great Churchwell?
Man, speaking of that, man, it's ironic, man. You know, my freshman year at Pearl-Cohn was 1985, and we were a core style band.
That's right. Carolina.
Carolina. He was a core style band, and so we didn't march TSU's homecoming that 85 fall of 85. So me and all my Pearl-Cohn buddies, we was at the parade, and we was mad. Cause here come East. East had a band. Here come White's Creek. Here come Maplewood. And we on the sideline watching. And we was like, man, we was mad, man. We should be in this parade. Mm-hmm. So me and my friend, I can't remember if it was Lamont Sneed, Charles Sneed now, Ricardo. We was like, man, if we ain't in this parade next year, man, we going to White's Creek. Mm-hmm. We going to White's Creek, man. We ain't missed being in this parade next year. And we were set on coming, transferring, and going to White's Creek. My parents, we had just moved over to Parkwood, so I was already naturally zoned to go to White's Creek. Mm-hmm. And so I said, man, we'll be on White's Creek, man. And just Mr. Morton Jr. came and was the new band. We got word that he was going to be the band director the next year, and we said, okay, well, I guess we'll stay. But you were about to get about 20 more people on White's Creek band in 1985 because we was sort of hot that we wasn't in TSU parade, and we was about to come your way.
Well, would have been glad to have you. I tell you, you're an outstanding musician, Professor Shelton. I've been honored to have you a part of the greatest high school band in America, one of the greatest high school bands in America. Interesting enough, Catalina, I succeeded Catalina at North.
Okay.
Mr. Cat.
Yeah, Mr. Cat.
Cat was, and he was, of course, he started the band program at Pearl-Cohn.
Okay.
And y'all were walking the Krogers. Yeah, I walked the Krogers. But you walked the Krogers well, though. Okay. Yeah. But that's a great story. I wish you. When did you finish Pearl-Cohn?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Who was band director when you left? Was it Cat?
No, Little More Jr.
Yeah.
He came my sophomore year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And everything changed then.
Everything changed.
Everything changed then. Yeah.
Well, Doc, we appreciate you. We appreciate your time. This is something that me and Joe have talked about doing a long time, this band Bruhz series. We want to make sure we start off the right way. You got to know your past before you move forward. And this is real important for us to let the young folks know, where everything kind of started. And they just didn't start it themselves. So we got some rich history right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Well, yes, I do. I appreciate you all giving me an opportunity to come. I'm quite honored to be here and to this interview, and very kind to say that I was a legend.
Yeah,
I try to make my contribution to the music, the high school music scene in Nashville. And you're right. No one does anything alone. You asked the question that you asked me earlier about what band directors were great influences in my life. I have to say that Mr. Morton, Leonard Morton Sr., was a great influence.
That's the dad.
The dad. The great Cameron High School band.
Okay.
They were monsters. Yeah. The monsters of the Midway. And, of course, the great Pearl High School band with Mr. Gunner. Okay. I had an opportunity to sit down with Prof. Gunner when I became band director at North High. And he gave me some great pearls of wisdom. Okay. Great pearls of wisdom about, and he was cool. Okay. Both he and Prof. Morton were two of the coolest, and Ed Howe was too. But they were in a different piece by themselves. Morton and again, the greatest influence I had, one of the greatest influences was Prof. Greer. Okay. Prof. Greer, the master. We call him the master.
He was scary. We got a chance to witness him and walking in that band room up here at TSU, and everybody, I mean, you could hear people blink like, please don't call on me to play this song, or I mean, he was just
he go down the line on you. And say, are you ready? Yep. What are you trying to do?
Right.
Come on.
And you know what? There is one more thing I want to ask you, so we don't exclude anybody listening in. But did you have and this is a two-part question? Did you have any particular style or what you were looking for as far as majorettes. How dare I leave that out? But you want to talk about either one of those?
Yeah. Well, I was blessed to have some great majorette coordinators. Ms. Margot Kane, being one of them.
My PE teacher.
And she, of course, outstanding lady herself. My daughter was one of the majorettes in the band, who's now an attorney here in Nashville. So I look for young ladies who were ladies, who could carry themselves with dignity. I never liked monkey shines. I didn't like any crazy stuff. I didn't put up with any crazy stuff. But I wanted them to exhume and to be ladies at all times, but even in their marching style, even when they're dancing and all that, not to do anything that would be implied. Right. Sometimes you see people overdo it, over-exaggerate stuff. Right. But young ladies who, I guess you might say, some of them march in the band. Okay. So they understood my concept. They understood my psychology about and my philosophy about being a student in the White Creek Band, as you did and others. But I look for that. That's one of the things. And then have the talent to dance. We're not afraid to be in front of an audience, because you're standing in front of 10,000 people sometimes, 7,000 people performing, and to be able to smile, a continuing smile. That's in high school. That's very difficult. And a lot of our young ladies became majorettes here at TSU. Gotcha. But that's what I look for.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
Thank you, Doc.
Hey, y'all, this is Jerry Davis.
This is Joe Shelton, and we are the Band Bruhz. Save a dime, save a dollar. Band on the budget. Brought to you by Band Bruhz. Hey, what's going on? This is Joe Shelton here with your Band on the Budget moment. This segment of Band on the Budget, we're going to talk about specifically saving money on your drum heads. If you know you're a band director in high school, you know drum heads can be a huge financial burden if you're not properly tuning and taking care of your drum heads. So just on the average of you're using a 28-inch bass drum head and you're using maybe the fiber skin or whatever type of drum head, on the average you're talking about $50 a drum head. So you're looking at $100 for one drum. And I know high school kids, sometimes they think that's a rites of passage. By busting the drum head, they think they're playing with power, and they think that's a cool thing to do, to actually bust a drum head. But when you look at the cost of spending $100 for one drum, and that's just on one bass drum, that can become a big part of your budget that you don't need to spend. How can you avoid that? Number one, the quality of your drums. I know sometimes we may not have the best quality drums, and sometimes shells may be warped or something like that, which may cause the premature wear of drum heads and things like that. So, of course, you want good quality equipment, and if you don't have it, you want to put that in your budget to try, because in the long run, it will save you money by not purchasing so many heads. So one simple way you can fix that to save the life of the drum heads by tuning your drum. And again, it's all on preference. I think of drum heads like a tire on your car. If your tire is flat, you're not going to get the life expectancy of the tire. But if you keep the drum head at a proper tension, all these drum heads are meant to be tuned to somewhat type of tension for the best quality and the longevity of the drum head. You should be tuning them drums 2 or 3 times. You tune them before practice, you're tuning them during practice, and you're tuning them after practice, because depending on the quality of the drum, the tension, the lugs might not hold the tension of the head, and so as you're playing, the vibration may cause those lugs to loosen up. So you need to be constantly tuning those drums. So just by keeping some tension on the drum head, you will save the longevity. Me personally, I've had fiber skins on my bass drums, and they're going on 6-7 years. I haven't had to change them yet. Now, with the fiber skin drums, they will start peeling no matter how, because of the skin layer on top of it, but it's still playable. So if you're going through 2 or 3 bass drum heads a year, keep your drums tuned. If you have a drum line of 10 kids, you're talking well over $500 just for drum heads a year. And so if you're spending $500 a year on the drum heads every year or more, then that's money you can be using to something else. So that's it for the time. Tune your drums. If you need somebody to help tune, inbox me. I can let you know. I'll give you some more tips on what some other types of heads for different scenarios, for different size bands, for different situations, for different sounds. If you want a different sound, just inbox me at Band Bruhz or leave a comment below, and I'll be sure to give you my input. Until then, peace. This is it for Band on the Budget.